Thanks, Philip, and welcome to Today in Putnam County, the show that's talking about all the great things happening in our community, and I'm interviewing the people making them happen. Hope you're having a great Saturday morning. My guest today is Cookeville City Manager Mike Davidson. Good morning, Mike. How are you doing?
Hey, Randy, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on your show this morning.
Thanks for being on the show. We're together a lot in events and in meetings all the time, but I thought our listeners would love to hear from you and talk about what a city manager does on a day-to-day basis and some of the great things that's happened in Cookeville. So we've got a lot to talk about.
We do. There's a lot happening around Cookeville.
It is. A lot going on. When we start out, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are today.
Well, I wish I knew how I landed in this role that I'm in, but I've been with the city 22 years, or almost 22 years. We started there in April of '97 as the Assistant Finance Director. I'd spent some time after I graduated at Tennessee Tech. I went to work for the Comptroller's office as an auditor, and my wife and I moved back to Cookeville. I worked at Tennessee Tech for about 5 years, and then an opportunity came along at the city and became the city's Assistant Finance Director. And then in 2003, I took over as Finance Director and was in that role for about 12 years. When at that time, Mr. Shipley, the previous city manager, retired, the council asked me if I'd be interested in the city manager role. Reluctantly, initially, because I enjoyed my job, and it was simply from that standpoint. I really enjoyed being the finance director for the city of Cookeville. I hated to step out of that role.
Right.
I'm comfortable with numbers and my spreadsheets, and I was just reluctant to leave that because I've truly enjoyed what I did.
Right.
But I took over stepped in the role as city manager. I've enjoyed it. It's been rewarding. We've got some things done the last 4 years. It's been exciting. I hope the community sees them the same way and is excited about them as well. And a lot of good things happening in Cookeville.
It is. You have family history of radio that we were talking about earlier.
I do.
Your dad was basically the voice of Putnam County when it came to radio. Tell us a little bit about that.
He was Gene Davidson, my father. Spent his whole life. He came to Tennessee Tech to school and started working part-time at WHUB Radio and never left. After he finished his degree at Tennessee Tech, he stayed in the radio business and spent 40-plus years at WHUB. I spent a lot of time as a young child in those studios with him, watching him. He enjoyed the radio, something I'm not that comfortable with, but he certainly enjoyed it. He
had a voice that was recognizable anytime the radio came on. I mean, he had that voice. One thing that I remember is anytime that the fire alarm went off at the city, WHUB used to put on where the fire was at. And I thought that was always amazing, that the community knew where all the fire calls was coming from.
They did. They had a lot of shows and local interest in keeping people updated on what was going on around Cookeville and Putnam County. And but yeah, I spent a lot of time in those booths just watching him while he was on the radio.
He was great. He did a great job
Thank you.
out of it. Let's talk about some of the things that are happening in Cookeville or recently happened. I know the one that sticks out to me that I think that is going to take us many years in the future when it comes to land development and new business coming in was the 5th interchange in Tennessee Avenue. That was a big project for the city to take on, wasn't it, to build a new road that size to connect the interstate and Highway 7?
That was a significant project for the community. Cookeville, Putnam County, having a 5th interchange along I-40 is, cities would love to have that. And the wisdom and the vision 20 years ago when that came up, the idea of can we get another interchange? Mm-hmm. Looking back at those individuals that started that conversation, it is fantastic. It was huge for the city and the county, and to extend or build that connector road was a big project for the city. It's a great partnership with TDOT. With the county, with the city, but getting that 2.5 or so mile road from the interstate, the 5th interchange up to Highway 70, that just opens up a lot of opportunity, gives a motorist another way to get around the city and get through the city. As we all know, traffic can be challenging at times.
Challenging, yeah, that's a good
in
word.
Cookeville, and it gives everyone another opportunity to get from point A to point B. But it was a huge project, a huge undertaking for the city of Cookeville.
the farmland that new road opened up that had little access, little two-lane roads to, that now has opened up, do you see a lot of development hitting that area in the future? I know you watch other interchanges, new interchanges been added to different communities, and it doesn't seem like it's long before growth starts hitting those interchanges.
I'm like you. I can't imagine that it's going to be too long before something right along the interstate at the interchange develops, and then from that I think it'll just be the catalyst for other developments that'll occur south and north of that interchange along that new road.
It's going to be great for our community, I think. I
It
appreciate
is.
the city doing that. You're working on a new project now, and have been for a few years, a new police station. How's that coming, and can you give us an update on that?
Well, I wish it was moving faster than it is. It took that idea, that concept came up, probably at least 10 years ago, trying to develop and build a new police station. The station now is in the basement of the Performing Arts Center. The police department's been there since the 70s, and the idea of it's time for them to have their own facility. They have outgrown that. They're approximately 13,000, 14,000 square foot they're operating out of. We've got 73 commissioned officers.
Wow.
Got another 25 or so civilian staff that work in that office each and every day. And we're looking at trying to build somewhere around a 40,000 square foot facility, something that will take us for the next 50 years.
You're planning for the future.
We are. It's moving a little slow. It's under design. It took us some time. It took us a couple of years to find property that fit within the city's budget. And finally, we were able to locate property out of it. We're moving it from downtown. We're going to move it out to Mill Street, that old Walton Road. And there's 3.5 acres out there the city purchased, and the project is underway. It's under design. The city, our public works department, built a new road that is adjacent to the property we bought, so we'll have good access in and out of the property for the public, for the employees as well, and the police officers. And it's going to be a $12 to $15 million project. Hopefully no more than that in today's economy.
Building costs are really going up.
Building costs are up, so we're going to see what happens. But hopefully it's going to come in that range, we hope, and we'll see what happens.
I think it's going to be a great location, mid off of Neal Street out there, to be able to have access. And of course, the city has grown so much. Police station being in the center of Cookeville, that's probably not the center anymore when you look at all the land that's been
You're
annexed and
absolutely right.
developed.
As much as it's grown over time, it's not quite the center anymore. And our officers aren't typically dispatched from the station. Once they leave the station, they're on the road, and that location gives them good access to get to anywhere within the city in a short amount of time if they needed to. But they're not typically dispatched out of that facility anyway.
Well, that's going to be a great facility. We're talking with Mike Davidson this morning on Today in Putnam County. Here on News Talk 107.7 and 1400 The Hub. I'm Randy Porter, your host. More with Mike as we come back in a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back to Today in Putnam County. I'm your host, County Executive Randy Porter. The show's talking about all the great things happening in our community. My guest this morning is City Manager Mike Davidson, and we're talking about some of the events and projects and things going on in Cookeville. Mike, one I know that a lot of folks are interested in is the new skate park that you got a grant to do over at Parkview. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, our skate park, we hope to have it finished by the end of May. We need to have it finished by the end of May to meet the grant deadlines. Right now, all the grading has been done for the skate park, that particular site. We'll have a new restroom facility over there, a small restroom facility, but that's under construction right now. City, our maintenance department is actually building that in order to try to fit this entire park, the skate park, within the budget we have from the state of Tennessee. We got a $400,000 grant from the state. We have to match it with $400,000, and in order to fit everything in and hit our budget, we're building that facility with our internal forces, their maintenance department. The actual concrete work, everything will be concrete. The skate park itself, there's no wood ramps or anything like that. It's an entirely concrete skate park ramp, and that company, Grindline, is the company that'll be doing that work. and they should be here this week, and if not, it'll be Monday, and they'll start work on the actual park itself.
And you've got a deadline coming up pretty soon.
It is. It needs to be finished by May.
By May.
And so the contractors, everyone's aware of the deadline, so that we can get the reimbursements on the grant, and so hopefully we get that finished by the end of May.
I think another project you have going that folks may not know about yet is changing some things at the intersection of Willow and Jackson, probably one of the busiest intersections in Cookeville.
It is. That intersection is the busiest intersections in Cookeville. The city, through another TDOT grant, we had a traffic study. We updated a traffic study for the various roads and corridors within Cookeville.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the corridors we looked at, of course, was the I-40 along Willow, all the way to North Willow and 12th. And throughout that study, one of the first recommendations they made, the engineering firm that did the work for us, recommended some additional turn lanes at Willow and Jackson. So what we're looking at doing, and council has already approved using some grant funds that we have. We have STBG grant funds available to us, and council's authorized us to allocate that money to this project. We're going to get an additional left turn lane, so as you're traveling north on Willow at the Jackson intersection, if you want to turn left to go west, or what I call going toward the Belk shopping center,
Right.
there'll be an additional left turn lane built.
Oh, wow.
And then for motorists that are traveling west on Jackson, when you get to Willow and you want to turn right onto Willow or go north onto Willow, we're going to have a dedicated right turn lane added for those motorists. So it's going to be a $1.4 or $5 million project. The grant funds we're using for that has a 20% match requirement, and because it's along a state route, TDOT has agreed to match that 20% for us. So
Wow.
we're using our STBG funds. TDOT said they would match it, so that's another huge partnership with TDOT. We're thankful for that, and hopefully we'll be able to improve traffic flow at that intersection.
Well, traffic tends to back up in that turning lane back down Willow, so that should make a big difference with people being able to get through the intersection faster.
Oh, it should. Traffic, as you mentioned, it can back up to State Street easily on any given weekend, any given day, and this will give that extra turn lane to try to help move those vehicles a little quicker.
We're talking to Cookeville City Manager Mike Davidson today on Today in Putnam County. Mike, I know something that's been in the news lately also with the city is traffic signals and running fiber to the signals, I believe. Is that what you're doing?
We are. Started this process just trying to figure out how do we synchronize and connect our traffic signals. So we did an RFP 8 months ago or so, and we're working with Twin Lakes Communications. They're stringing fiber to city facilities, but also to many of our traffic signals along these corridors, such as Willow, many along Jefferson, 10th Street. And the goal is to use some new software that council approved this past week for the city it's new software for our controllers at each of our intersections. So we'll be able to better manage and time and synchronize and coordinate those signals, we hope. We'll be able to monitor those from our public works facilities. So if we see something happening, we can change those signals from the public works facility. We don't have to go out on site and physically open that controller and make those changes.
That will be nice.
And so we'll be able to hopefully, it's not the magic answer, but hopefully it will help with traffic flow in those, especially the busy corridors, the 10th Streets, the Willows, the Jeffersons.
I know around the square changed it recently to where that no right turn on red, and I noticed a big difference in the traffic around the square not backing up as bad with that change. So city's always looking for new ways to improve traffic. That'll be a huge improvement with the new fiber.
We are. We're trying to do what we can with the dollars we have to do it as efficiently as we can. Simple right turn, no right turn on red around the square has made a huge difference. If we can keep and get everyone to follow that and obey that sign, it can and it does help keep those intersections from being blocked. And once they get blocked, it takes a while for everything to settle back out. So, but that has made a huge difference just by putting up some no right turn on red signs.
You got a lot of other projects going on. As I was looking down the list, New sidewalks is a big one. You were just in the newspaper I saw the other day getting a new grant for some sidewalks over near Tech, and you've got a project I think going out Spring Street. Is that correct?
We do. We have we've got two underway right now, two large sidewalk projects. The first one was a grant through TDOT that's extending sidewalks from Old Kentucky Road along Spring Street all the way back into town to Denton Avenue. That's $1 million sidewalk project.
Wow.
So we're excited about that. It's following the grant process. It just takes a little time to get it done, but we follow that process to make sure we get reimbursed and we don't lose those grant funds. The second grant project or sidewalk project we started was along Interstate Drive. And there's sidewalks out there, but they're kind of piecemeal. As that has developed, those new businesses have installed sidewalks in front of their businesses, and we're going to fill in everywhere along Interstate Drive that doesn't have a sidewalk. So there'll be sidewalks on Interstate Drive on both the north and the south side of Interstate Drive.
That'd be great. A lot of foot traffic on Interstate Drive with all the folks staying in the hotels and walking to the
walking to those restaurants. We're going to extend sidewalks down South Jefferson to around South Walnut Avenue, so we'll have sidewalks there as well. And then we got notice a couple of weeks ago, we got another TDOT multimodal access grant, and we're going to have sidewalks on the north side of 12th Street between Willow and Dixie, and then for a little ways going north on North Willow as well. We'll extend sidewalks up through there using this grant funds. That's another $900,000 grant.
That's great.
It is. It's fantastic.
Tech students
And the tech.
be able to walk to classes and to the buildings, and
they will. Motors probably don't notice. I'm sure they see the students walking on the north side of 12th, but if you're ever on 12th between Dixie and Willow, if you look, you'll see a path
yes,
along the edge of the road, and that's where the students are walking. So it's time we get some sidewalks over there to make that a little safer for those students.
Well, that's great. You're doing a great job. You're listening to Today in Putnam County. I'm talking with Cookeville City Manager Mike Davidson. We need to take a break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Today in Putnam County. I'm your host, County Executive Randy Porter. We're talking with City Manager Mr. Mike Davidson this morning about all the great things going on in Cookeville. Mike, you have a tough job. You are over all the city departments, having to make a lot of decisions in a day's time. My question, what do you think is the toughest part of being city manager?
That's a good question.
I can't wait to hear the answer.
Well, I wish I think the toughest part for me is when you get those phone calls from a citizen, someone passing through with an issue, an idea, and my first thought is, well, why can't we look at this? Why can't we do that? And then as you dig into things, you begin to realize, well, this is why we do it the way it is today, and even though we've done it a certain way for a number of years, it still makes sense that we do that. And sometimes just the toughest part is just telling people no.
No.
Yeah,
I find that in my job too. Sometimes you have to tell them no because there's a law or a regulation or something out there. So.
There is, and people sometimes don't understand it. And it is. That's the toughest part for me, is just telling people no at times. But sometimes that
has to be the answer.
It is. Yeah.
We've been very successful in economic development over the past few years. What do you attribute that to?
Oh, I think that's just because we have a good team in Cookeville and Putnam County. I think we have a great relationship with everyone that's involved in trying to recruit businesses and industry to Cookeville, the city and the county, and our university and our chamber and our hospital and all the other municipalities within the county. Everyone is on the same page with whatever happens in Putnam County is good for everyone, and we're all working together on that same page. And I think that's what it is. We're positioned. I mean, we're right along the interstate. We have all those attributes too. Where we're physically, where the city and county is located, but it's just that team effort that we have, and then the people of. One thing you hear from everyone that comes to that's located in Cookeville recently is they talk about the people and the friendliness of this community, and that is key too. And it is. I don't think there's a better place in the world that you could raise a family than right here in Cookeville, Tennessee.
You and I agree on a lot of things. We especially agree on that. We both traveled to a lot of places. I've never found any place I loved any more than Cookeville and Putnam County. We got to talk about this. A lot of us are heartbroken. You are going to be moving on sometime in the near future with a new job opportunity. That had to be a tough decision.
It was. I struggled when this opportunity came along, when I was actually offered a position. I really struggled with it. It's an opportunity that is, I'm excited about it, and I'm going to go to work. I haven't really talked about it a lot, but I'm going to go to work in the natural gas business.
Natural gas business.
I am. People don't realize, and I spent some years as a finance director. I also had the opportunity to work with the Cookeville Gas Department.
Mm-hmm.
I spent about 6.5 years working with that department too while I was the finance director. And so I learned a lot about natural gas, got to know individuals and other companies, and this opportunity is kind of, I didn't see it coming, but I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. But it was a difficult decision, and it was a difficult decision because of the people that I work with, the working relationships that I have and that I've built over the years, and to be stepping away from that, and you know, still have those friendships, but it was the people that made it a difficult decision. The city manager's job, it's a stressful job.
Most folks don't realize that, do they? I don't think with all the day-to-day, with all the departments that you have under you, and electric, water, sewer, police, fire, you just keep naming on and on. But with Cookeville growing like it is, that stress, I'm sure, has increased in the time it takes to do that job.
It has. My blood pressure's going up the last 4 years. But again, it has been a rewarding job. You know, the stress level's there, but those days when you finally see a project complete, those are the days you smile and say, hey, we got it done.
It was worth it.
It was worth it, exactly. And so it was a very difficult decision. I talked about it a lot, my wife and I did. I prayed about it a lot, but at the end of the day, I think that's where
What's
God
meant to
wanted me
be.
to go. It is, yes.
Well, you've done a great job. I told someone the other day, we were talking about you and leaving. You brought a sense of calmness and to Cookeville government, and you're so easygoing, but yet you're a great leader, and it's going to be tough being without you and having to train another city manager. We were all talking about, and I'm kidding about that, you know, but some things are meant to be.
I have been blessed to work with people like you, this council, the previous council that initially appointed me as city manager, and I work with some of the best department directors in the city of Cookeville. They all truly care, those department directors truly care about the city, the residents, the services we're providing, and that's what makes Cookeville what it is.
What it is.
Yeah.
Great employees, great
employees.
department heads. One final question. If you could snap your fingers and change one thing about city government, what would that be?
That's another tough one. You know, I don't know. I think at a local level, city government and the form of government we have, it operates. It's as efficient as it can be. I get frustrated at times because it takes us a little longer to get something accomplished, and that may be related to whether it's an outside, you know, whether it's a grant that we're working with and the rules and regulations you have to follow with that, and you get frustrated because it takes time to work through that process, or just our own processes. Sometimes it takes us a little longer. You wish you could just snap your fingers and have things complete.
It doesn't work that way.
But it doesn't work that way. But I don't know there's really anything I would change a whole lot. I think Cookeville, the operation of Cookeville anyway, is pretty smooth, it's pretty fluid, and again, and part of that, or the biggest part of that, is because we have great teams that all work together, and everyone's on the same page working toward the same goal.
I agree with you 100%. Mike, thanks for being on the show today. You're doing a great job as city manager. We wish you the best in your new endeavors. We're going to miss you, but we still got you for a few more months, hopefully before you're going to leave. But thank you for everything you do for Cookeville.
Randy, thank you. I've enjoyed working with you all these years, and I will miss that. I'm still going to be in Cookeville, so I'll still get to see you.
Stay here.
Yeah.
Mike Davidson, City Manager for Cookeville. It's now time for What's Happening, the part of the show where I keep you informed on some of the special events going on in Putnam County. Tonight, Tuesday at 7 a.m., February the 19th, Business for 4 Hours, sponsored by our Chamber of Commerce. Great way for you to network with other business owners. Saturday, February the 23rd at 8 a.m., Cummins Mills Marathon down at Cummins Mills Park in the edge of Jackson County. That starts at 8 o'clock. Sunday, February the 24th at 5:30, a great banquet that we attend every year. It's the Impact Banquet at the Leslie Town Center, one of Cookeville's premier events, sponsored by Impact Leadership. Friday, March the 1st through Sunday, March the 3rd, the Upper Cumberland Home and Garden Show. Be at Hyder Burks as usual, sponsored by the Upper Cumberland Home and Builders Association. Starts at 4 p.m. on Friday and closes at 4 p.m. on Sunday. Saturday, March the 2nd at 6 p.m., the Cook Vegas Gala at the Upper Cumberland Regional Airport. That is sponsored by the Cookeville Children's Museum, and all the proceeds go to benefit the museum. Wednesday, March the 13th at 5:30, Cookeville First Baptist Spring Carnival. Bounce houses, games, food, fun for the whole family. Come out and join them starting at 5:30 on Wednesday, March the 13th. Saturday, March the 16th at 6:30, Murder Mystery and the Cookeville Movie Awards at the Salt Box Inn. They're sponsored by the Cookeville Sunset Rotary. Saturday, March the 16th and 17th, this is a great event we have in Cookeville. It's the free medical, dental, and vision clinic. It's sponsored by RAM. It's going to be at the Cookeville High School. They will start lining up at midnight on Saturday, March the 16th. If you would like to volunteer for this, you can check out the RAM Free Medical Clinic. Now, and last Friday, March the 22nd, Saturday, March the 23rd at 7 p.m., the Nitro Arena Cross Motorcycle Races, sponsored by Motorhead Events, be held at Hyder Burks Arena on Gainsborough Grade. And that's what's happening in Putnam County over the next few weeks. If you need more details on any of these events, go to my Facebook page, Putnam County TN, or my website at randyporter.org. And finally this morning, I'll leave you with something to think about. We've been talking this morning with Cookeville City Manager Mike Davidson about all the great things happening in Cookeville. None of those accomplishments would have been possible without a great group of department heads and employees at the city. I have worked with those men and women for many years, and they are second to none. For any business or government to be successful, though, there has to be great leadership at the top. Mike Davidson is one of those leaders. Mike brought his calm and easygoing demeanor to city government. Anyone that knows Mike knows what an asset he has been to Cookeville as both its finance director and city manager. Those are going to be some really big shoes to fill. I urge our city council to work diligently to find someone who is a great leader like Mike, as Cookeville's future depends on it. That's our show for today. I want to thank my guest, Mike Davidson, City Manager for Cookeville, for being here. I hope you'll join us every Saturday morning at 10:30 for Today in Putnam County, right here on News Talk 107.7 and 1400 The Hub. Remember, you can also download the WHUB app and listen to us anywhere on your cell phone. If you missed any of our shows, check out my website, randyporter.org, where you can listen and watch all of our past shows. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media with Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm County Executive Randy Porter, hoping you have a great rest of your Saturday, and may God continue to bless our great county.